Another driving in the South for y'all. Today we are headed to Prestonburg, whatever, however you say that, Kentucky. We're headed to Kentucky, and we're actually in two separate vehicles here because Katie is going to Canton, North Carolina to see our grandparents. So we're in the truck here, in Dad's truck, and we're going to drop the truck in Asheville and then get in with, in Canton, sorry y'all. We're going to drop the truck in Canton and then get in with Mom. She's in front of us, and I'll go to Kentucky together. And it's convenient for us to stop by Canton because we're going through Asheville and then north and up through Virginia, and yeah.
So we're going to go through Virginia?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been to Virginia. We're gonna go through Virginia and then up to Kentucky because it's like Eastern Kentucky is where we're going.
I guess so, because every other time I've went by Knoxville, Murfreesboro, and went like Middle Tennessee and up. Just go over, past Johnson, all that, and go up. So that'll be interesting.
Should be a good trip. We're going to Kentucky because Mom has been a finalist in the Appy Awards. She's been nominated for that, and we're gonna go and see what's going on and have a good time. We've never been to that part of Kentucky, but we have been to other places in Kentucky, and so that's what this driving in the South is gonna be about. Other times that we went to Kentucky and what we were doing there, and we've got some pictures to show you.
Some good pictures.
Yes, some good pictures. So in the past, the first time we ever went to Kentucky, we were like maybe 14. Is that right?
Maybe 13.
Maybe 13
Probably
or 14. Pretty young. And we used to go to Berea, Kentucky. We went with the folk school as part of that. And they would have a mountain folk festival up there. And we would go as a dance team to go up there and dance and participate in their mountain folk festival. And oh my gosh, like hours worth of memories from that trip there. That was just so much fun. We all got to go together, and was just super fun. And we stayed in this church, and this was like the biggest church ever. You know, being in the South, of course, like I'm thinking of kind of one room, I don't know, church houses and maybe
3-story church.
Yeah, this was like a 3-story big brick square church.
What was it? Union Methodist Church?
Yeah, it was something like that. Union Methodist Church or something.
Watching this goes to that church?
I don't know. If you're watching that and you go to that church, comment below and let us know that you go to that church. It was a beautiful church. I'm just saying it was different from what we were used to.
It's right kind of in the center of Berea there, kind of right in the middle of the campus. Sort of. So if you know the one we're talking about, you will not be confused.
Yeah. It's the biggest one that's kind of there, and we would stay there. They would let us stay for free, I think, and then we would drive down to the college, Berea College, and dance. And it was so fun, and for weeks before we went, we would have to get together and practice and learn the dances, so that way when we got there, because there would be other groups from other places that came, and then for a couple of days, you would kind of dance and learn the dances throughout the day, and then there was a Saturday night was when the community could come and they celebrated all these traditional dances that had been done, way back, and performances, and we even got to clog there, so we're gonna put some footage of that in for sure.
celebrate bringing in the season, bringing in spring with branches of. No, my line was it in May? I bet you it was in May instead of March.
Yeah, it's sometime in spring.
Dude, Katie, man, like March, May, what is it?
I mean, they both start with an N.
Yeah, okay, maybe it was branch of May. That sounds about right. Maybe it was May. So somebody would literally go and find a tree that had little, I don't know what tree it was from, just that was blooming.
Maybe.
Yeah, and just cut little branches off of it, and there'd be a big pile of branches. And so what we would do is we would get in line how we were going to process and dance the special little like branch of May processional, and we would do it kind of as an opening little thing for the evening. Hold on, I need to look at my mirror over there. You got it blocked. Just a second.
Oh, okay, you got it.
I got it. I can get over.
Yeah, put on. Well, never mind.
I just couldn't see. That's a Tesla back there. They might gain on me. Okay. I was just panicked for a minute because I was mid-move and I didn't. I was looking to see my name. There's somebody back there. We would get in line outside how we had practiced the dance and process into the gymnasium while a certain song, a sweet little song was playing, and all of the community that had came to join us and some of the other people were sitting in the bleachers there in the gymnasium, and it was just a really little sweet thing. They would kind of watch as we all come in and danced our pretty little dance and the whole time we were dancing, we were holding those branches, and it was just a really, really sweet, precious little thing. I mean, it's just darling. Makes me think of a lot of really, really good, sweet, wholesome times. So that was western, that was west in the state. Now we're on the other side of the state. But it is worthy to mention that some of the groups that came to dance come from North Carolina. We were one of them. Some of them come from South Carolina. Some of them come from Virginia. Some from Tennessee. And then there was some that had already lived there in Berea and were currently in the homeschool co-op they had there, or maybe they were in college there. It was a really good time, and Jennifer Rose Escobar.
Shout out if you're watching this.
Shout out if you're watching this. She may be in Kentucky up here when we come up here to this. I suspect to see her and probably some other people we know, maybe. But she kind of run the whole thing. She did a fantastic job, her and her daughters and her husband, and it was just a wonderful time. And so when we met them, they would come down here, down to the folk school and do some things. And so it was always fun when they would come down here in our neck of the woods, and we would get to hang out with them there. So it was a really, I would say, somewhat life-altering experience, because it helped me make friends and connections, and I learned a lot of stuff about music and dance that I would have not otherwise been able to learn. So
yeah, and it was, I mean, I know we just keep saying it was so sweet, but those were such sweet memories, because there was kids that were way younger than us, like little bitty, like 6-year-old kids, and then like, 14, 18, 20-year-olds, and then there was people who were in their 60s and 70s, just part of the community, supporting, keeping the old dances and the traditions alive, and it was such good music. That was what was cool, is it was a live band that played for the dances, so there was awesome music, and it was so fun, and we got to go with our friends and got to stay in this church. And it's funny, so there was no shower at the church because, it's a church. Most churches don't have showers. And so if we wanted to shower, we had to shower at the gymnasium. Well, we learned the hard way, and the gymnasium was right downstairs from where we would dance, because we were dancing.
Well, the gymnasium, we were in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
There was another part.
Right.
The basketball court was downstairs,
Yes.
and that's where the bathrooms and locker rooms were.
Yes, sorry, that's what I meant. And we learned the hard way the first year that they closed after a certain point. So like after the dance week, because they would have dances at night too, we would go down there one time, like the very first time is what I'm saying, and at like 9 p.m. and it was closed. And I was like,
I can't go to bed like
oh my gosh, I'm sweaty. Like, we can't go to bed like this. So I remember we basically just had to go back to the church and find a restroom and use a sink and a washcloth, and that was pretty much what we had to do there. And so we remembered from
the next time
that you kind of had to shower before the dance, which
doesn't make any sense.
no, which still
better than nothing.
So most of the time we would shower before the dance, then still go back with a washcloth and a sink and try to kind of freshen up before bed.
I'm one of those people, unless I'm sick or unless it's late or some extenuating circumstance, I will not. That was one of my pet peeves. I will not get in the bed if I think I'm dirty. I have got to take a bath. I will not sleep if I don't take a bath. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care whose house I'm at. I'm taking a bath or I'm not sleeping. And you know what? If you're not going to let me take a bath at your house, you're not sleeping either. I'm going to make you miserable.
Oh my gosh, the only way maybe I could do that would be if I knew I was gonna, it was like maybe a Friday night or something, I was gonna change my sheets the next morning.
It's an OCD thing. I just
Yeah.
go, oh, I can't.
No, I can't do that. I can't sleep. I cannot sleep in the bed dirty and then have to sleep in that same bed again the next day when I'm clean. No.
I don't like that. So, thinking about that church is really interesting, and it was really fun that all our friends that went with us, so there was 3 stories. There was an upstairs room where there was the Sunday school rooms, a middle floor, and then the bottom floor. The bottom floor was the basement, and I think that there was maybe some offices down there, some other Sunday school rooms for like small children, like infants, and a cafeteria, and a fellowship, like a room for if you were going to have dinner there on the grounds, or like a, homecoming or whatever. And I remember I was so scared to go downstairs in the dark. I was petrified.
The church was of course a really nice place, but it was so big. And of course the lights weren't on in the basement, and as kids our imaginations kind of ran wild and we would get pretty spooked out, honestly.
We didn't like it. But I remember when we went down there, Bob Dulcimer, shout out to you if you're watching this, he's the one that would get us together and bring us up there. He told us when we went, I remember one of the first times, the next morning when it was time to eat breakfast and we could take cereal and different stuff and put it in the kitchen down there, the sun, there was so many stained glass windows in that church, and the sun it would come through the windows and it was beautiful, and it was all lit up and you could see in there, and you could see a little stage kind of in the fellowship hall area. And he said that one of the first years that he come and took people, they slept down there and they put sleeping bags on that stage. Do you remember him saying that?
Yeah.
And they put them in a circle. But then we just ended up sleeping in the rooms. So the kids were on the 3rd floor, the adults were on the 2nd floor. And I was thinking about that the other day. I'm very surprised with as skittish and scared and as easy as I got upset. I was very sensitive. I still am. I'm surprised I was able to sleep up there in that room alone without my mom. I would want to be right next to my mama. But me and Corey brought air mattresses, and there was a couch up there. So at one point it would have been me and you and Hannah, Abby, and Kelly Noel. So all the girls would sleep there. And I can't remember. Brian went with us. Brian and Dakota went with us one time. I don't remember where they were.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they were with us. They would have been maybe in the next room or something like that.
Maybe so.
Maybe downstairs. But we had this tradition where we would bring cheese, crackers, board games. And we would play these board games like as late as our parents, the adults would let us stay up. We would play board games, and then we would crash and wake up the next morning and drag into the gymnasium on the college campus there and dance. And we were all sleepy because we stayed up too late playing board games. And it was just like, the most wholesome, decent teenage experience you could possibly imagine. And it was pure bliss. Yes, it was wonderful.
You gotta tell the ghost story.
Well,
you gotta talk about that a little bit.
I will, and I feel bad to mention, think about, this church is haunted because this is the house of Christ and it's haunted. Cade, he might be, I don't know if he'd watch this. Gosh, he's grown now, I can't believe it.
He was little then, though.
He was little then, though. So, I was friends with his sister, who was a year or two older than us, but we were staying with her up there. She was one of our buddies, that we were camping out in the room up there in the church. And so it hadn't been long since we got to the church. We got in there, put all our bags and everything in the rooms upstairs. And I remember I had talked all about this church to Cade. I had just added on about how big this church was and how he was going to like it. It is huge, and it was beautiful, and it's so much fun. And I just went on, and Cade was all excited. So as soon as we got there and got the bags dropped, he wanted to explore, and I said, let's go. And I told him that the 3 floors are connected on the far end, well, on both ends, by a staircase on both ends. So we went down to the basement, and I said, we'll go down there, we'll come up the back staircase, go across the floor this way, go up that staircase, and go on the next floor, and that's at the top, So we all excited, and we're running in this church to get this done. And we come into the basement, and I open the door. It's just swinging doors to the downstairs, and I'm like, ready? And we're racing and all this stuff. And I know what I heard. And to this day, I don't know if it was somebody that knew we were going to do that, and they were just joking with us, trying to scare us.
His mom or something.
His mom was a real jokester. Him and Abby's mom, so she might have done it. But I opened that door, and as soon as I opened that door, I heard, Corey. And I was like, but I'm Katie. I know what I heard. And he heard it too, and he was little and fast, and he was out of there. He left me standing there, and I was just like, and so we run off, and we were like, what is that about, you know? And we both said, you know, trying to debunk it, that it could have been the door creaking on the hinge. It really could have been, but we were all worried about it, and so we waited, and that night, I think it might have even been more like evening time, we went back down there. We were brave. We said, we're going to do it. So me and him went back down there, and we got halfway out that hallway, and I'm telling you, I know what I saw, and I, to this day, really haven't been more spooked out. I know what I saw in one of the rooms. The doors were open, and you could see into the Sunday school room, and there was a rocking chair over by the window, and a little bit of light was still coming through the window, and I saw somebody sitting in a rocking chair, and they were rocking.
I don't know if I remember that part.
And I got really upset. And you know something? I'm not sure if Cade was with me or not, but I remember I know what I saw, and I just felt real spooked out.
Boy, this spooked.
And I was so spooked that I couldn't run. I wanted to run just as hard and as fast as I could, but I walked real mouse-like and quiet and casual to the back staircase. And when I got on that staircase, I was taking steps 2 and 3 at a time. I was booking it up that staircase. And I don't even know if I ever told anybody that, but I was like super freaked out. Because I was like, it's after hours. Why would there be somebody just sitting in the rocking chair in the Sunday school room alone?
In the dark.
I was like, we're going to be murdered tonight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I gotta say, that's pretty. I remembered the voice part, but I definitely didn't remember the person sitting in a rocking chair part.
That's what I remember being just, and I still see it when I close my eyes.
Oh my gosh, that is so sketch. But
I feel really bad to say that about a church. But
it was just I kid you not, that church had to be at least 10 or 11, 12,000 square feet. I mean, it had to be, because a regular house, like Mom and Dad's house or me and Austin's house, is probably 1,300 square feet. And this church was huge, and there was what they called the sanctuary. We'll definitely.
That pipe organ.
That's what I was gonna say, and we'll have to put a picture in of that. You could get to that from the bottom, like in the kitchen basement area, or like from the staircase that we used a lot going up to the room that we stayed in, and it was beautiful. It was this room that was massive, and it had like a top row of seating, and then it had pews down in the center. It was like kind of like that, and there was this ginormous organ kind of at the center of it all. Yeah, gigantic pipe organ, and then like once or twice while we were there throughout the years, someone come and played it, and you could hear it all throughout the church.
It was beautiful.
That was awesome, and there was the best pizza place down the street from that, Papalini's Pizza. That was good. And then a couple years after that, maybe one of the last times we went, I think it was 2013, we stayed at a little bed and breakfast there.
Called church.
Yes, her name was BB, and we stayed there, and
she was awesome.
That was really fun, and I will never forget that, because I remember coming back from the dance that night, and she was sitting in front of the TV kind of with her head in her hands, and we were like, what's the matter? And that was when the Boston bombing happened, and she was watching it on TV, and we come in and sat down, and we were like, oh my gosh, you know, this is terrible, and sit there and watched it. But that was, honestly, those are like such sweet and special memories, and we went several years there, and then long time later, when we were maybe, how old were we? I think it was before I met Austin. So like, I don't know, in our late, like, I don't know, 18, 19 or 20 or so, we went to Gilbertsville, Kentucky. And that was for SEOPA, Southeastern Outdoor Press Association. Mom got invited to that, and we got to go. That was at Kentucky Dam Lake. And
laying between the lakes.
Laying between the lakes. And that was super fun, because while Mom was like in the conference kind of stuff that she was doing, Katie and I and Dad got wined and dined, basically. They took us to just different places, and it was really fun. And they took us to an old, like, working farm, you know, just kind of showing. Is that what it was called?
I think.
Oh, Friedman Farm, is that right?
You'd be close to that, something like that.
Yeah, but anyways, we definitely got pictures of that, so we'll put them in so you can see. But that was super fun, and it was funny because that was what was kind of called like the spouse tours, or the spouse something, like for the spouses. Dad was the only man, and so we would get on this little bus, like van thing, and go places, and all the women would tease him because he was the only guy.
You're so fun.
Yes. That was really a super fun trip. So that's the only times really that we've been to Kentucky. This is a different part of Kentucky that we'll get to go to this time, and should be really fun. I'm excited. excited for Mom and proud of her that she's a finalist for this award, because she's worked so hard for like the last 15 years, you know, writing about Appalachia with her blog and with this YouTube channel. And we're gonna head out now. The Pressley girls are headed to Kentucky, and we hope you enjoyed this video. God bless you.
I would look more, but this ain't just our two-lane country road through Brasstown.
No.
This is serious traffic, and I've got to watch the road.
All right, on that note, catch you at the next video.